3, 2, 1, go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ENS YGN Podcast, An Audience With.
Hello, my name is Sophie Jackson, and I'm a nuclear safety consultant from the UK working for Abbott Risk Consulting.
This is Nelson Rincon. I'm a current representative of the German Nuclear Society, and I'm also the communications manager of the ENS YGN. I'm doing my research at the University of Stuttgart, and today I'm going to be sharing with you this first edition of An Audience With.
Welcome to An Audience With. This is the European Nuclear Society's Young Generation Network's video podcast. This podcast, every country will be interviewing a high-flying individual from their country who has a really interesting background. As a young person, I really want to know how a high-flying individual has got into their position and what struggles and stipulations they have gone through. I think it's going to be really inspiring. And now, given this is the first podcast release, I'm going to hand over to my colleague.
Well, hello there, Sophie. It's very nice to be here in the first edition of An Audience With. I am talking to you from Germany, so I brought some traditional butter pretzels for after lunch treat, of course. Today we're going to be introducing Dr. John Kettler from Actimondo EG. He has a very inspiring and interesting profile, and we're going to get to know him very well throughout the interview.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Happy to see
Good
you.
afternoon, John. How are you? How's everything going?
Yeah, everything is fine. I just switched to another microphone so that the quality hopefully is better.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll get better.
Okay,
Thank you so
So,
much for
yeah,
joining us today.
thank you. Happy to be
We're very
here.
thrilled to have you here. This is Sophie. I am Nelson. We both work for the communications part of the ENS YGN. And today you are in our first edition of the podcast that we call An Audience With. And the aim of this podcast is to find inspirational profiles just like you that have already a trajectory in the nuclear industry so that you can inspire people to actually keep working hard to reach their goals within these fields. So Sophie is the project manager of this, so that's why she's around, and she will be joining the discussion if she wants to. But mostly you're gonna do the interview with me. It's basically about you. Our favorite topic. It's talking about ourselves. We are very good at it.
Thank you
And
very much.
that will be the topic today.
So thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and also to be the first in your new podcast. I really like that you take over this initiative because this is really important. Yeah, that people like you here supporting young generation and doing this job to be more attractive. Yeah, so that others will follow you or us. Yeah, and doing something in the way of supporting nuclear because it's an important issue in also climate change and all other things facing our environment.
Yes,
It's
I
really
100% agree.
it's really lovely to have you. Thank you for being the first in our podcast. The whole purpose was to me and Nelson creating this one day in the pub, as you do. It was it was how do we convey that we're all the same, especially across Europe, because I'm from the UK. I'm the international YGM representative for the Nuclear Institute, and
Cool.
Nelson is the YGN for Germany, and he's on the ENS board as well. And it was just who can we find in each of our countries that inspire us and will inspire other people too in the industry. So it is really, really great to have you on board. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, well then let's get started. So we had a phone call a few weeks ago and I realized, okay, John, you have come a long way to get where you are right now. So let's start from the beginning. So first of all, tell us a little bit about your studies. What did you study? What's your background? We would like to start from there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Sophie. So from the background, I'm a physicist and I studied high energy physics. So I was always interested by machines, by accelerators, by nuclear physics. And then I decided, yeah, before I enter industry, I would like to do my PhD. And so I went to the research center here in Jülich, which is a former nuclear research center, yeah. And I'm there. I was there involved in the development of system for neutron activation analysis, yeah, and I did a research on characterization of nuclear waste, how to improve it, to gain important information for this characterized waste. And this was the time when I entered also nuclear industry, you know, then I become aware what's still possible. I have to be honest, the first time I entered a nuclear power plant was the first year of my study by, not by accident, by a colleague who was had good contacts, and we entered the nuclear power plant in Lingen, which would be the last nuclear power plant which stay online in Germany, yeah. And it was really impressive, you know, this to see this also. We were in the inner part of this reactor hall, above the reactor, and then the machine hall. And if you see, for example, the turbine, yeah, and you see the hole is moving. It was really, yeah, amazing, I have to say, yeah, to see that and what it offers to the public, yeah, the safe and CO2 free electricity for so many people. Yeah, and this was the touch point for me to go more deeper into what we call nuclear, yeah, nuclear community also.
Yeah, I guess that after you see it, you can actually feel the impact of how safe it is and how much of benefit it implies to society. We can all relate to that. Like my first visit to a nuclear power plant was like decisive in thinking like this has potential, this has science behind it, and I want to keep on this road. So I can totally relate to that, and thank you for sharing that with us. So that was the point that you decided, okay, maybe this is what I want to focus on. Maybe this is the field I want to go for. Then after finishing your studies, did you have contact with some other fields, or you knew that was directly into the nuclear one?
Yeah, when I started my PhD, I also entered the young generation here of our German nuclear society. Yeah, I signed in, and
Same.
then I visited, of course, several events like the annual meeting that we have here in Germany, but also abroad. And I still stayed in nuclear, but I moved. Okay, I had at first I focused more on nuclear waste management side, I would say, technology development. And after my PhD, I had the opportunity to start up or support a new chair at the university in Aachen in the nuclear fuel cycle. And there I led a project dealing with accelerator-driven transmutation system. You may know about this. This is kind of also a reactor system, which is called a subcritical reactor system. So you have an accelerator which produces protons or accelerate protons that impact on a so-called spallation target. And due to the spallation target, you get neutrons, fast neutrons, which makes a subcritical core critical. And then you can, for example, transmutate high-level waste, yeah, or plutonium minor actinides, and burn them. And this was a really interesting project with a Siemens company, with the colleagues from Frankfurt University, also former times with Russian colleagues. Yeah, and it was really interesting. And yeah, and then after that, or during this time, I also started my first company. Yeah, I started my first company during the university, the Aachen Institute for Nuclear Training, where we deal with education and training program for people in the nuclear industry. Yeah. And yeah, so this was then step by step the way where I go deeper and deeper in the nuclear industry.
Yes, that's very interesting that you participated in a large research project. I assume was it like national or like international research?
It was starting. It was national, but as soon it was international because partitioning and transmutation is a big topic, and even every country they're dealing with nuclear, they have an own topic on this. So in the second year, I visited an international conference or hosted by the IEA, yeah, and presented also our project there. And then we had cooperations with the CA in France. We had also with the colleagues in UK. We had cooperation there, and so it was became more and more international. Yeah. And this was also really interesting because you have totally different perspectives on the same point, on the same spot. Yeah.
So
Yes,
how
exactly.
many? Sorry, Nelson.
Go ahead.
Thank you. How many students have been through your training program now? And how did that come about? How did you get? Cause that sounds super interesting. And from the UK's point of view, this is what we are really wanting to start to achieve: is a more streamlined nuclear program for individuals.
Okay, thank you for this question. I will go more into detail. So the training program, what we established was additional to the courses that were at the university, because at the university we established an own master course where at the end, before unfortunately it was has to end it because due to the issue here in Germany, there were 20 people taking part on that. But in the courses that we offer to the nuclear industry here, we had around about 100 people per year taking part on that. From nuclear fundamentals, yeah, really the basics, up to special case topics to nuclear decommissioning, waste management, but also nuclear safety, radiation protection, law and order. Yeah, all these issues we faced. Yeah, and yeah, and from this, it was always the mission to bring together, to bridge the industry and young generation. Yeah, to show young generation what are perspectives in the industry, but also to advise and to link and network with experts with long time experience. Yeah, was not always easy, but it was really interesting, and it's still ongoing mission. That's maybe also that's part. But now when I left the Aachen Institute for Nuclear Training, I founded a new company, the Actimondo company, and this is still our mission here. We establish now with partners programs to train newcomers in our business. For example, now we have here with the Framatome together this competence hub. Yeah, so it is located at Advanced Nuclear Fuels in Lingen here in Germany, and this competence hub offers 180 days onboarding training for newcomers in the nuclear business, not only in Framatome, but also from other companies and institutions. And this is, as I said, is an ongoing mission for us, and especially for me, to support this, this way to keep up with competence in our society or societies.
Yeah, I do believe that like closing the gap between the young generation and the industries it's very important because for me it feels like after the university there's a big step that I don't know where to go still, and maybe with a training program it will be more clear which direction to go to. So that brings me to a more like technical questions, like which kind of training programs does your company offer for young professionals?
For example, we, as I said, together here, we offer a training with Framatome. This is especially this onboarding program, which is divided then into 3 different modules. So also from the beginning. So, for example, if you're a professional still in nuclear. Yeah, you know how a reactor works, you know about the nuclear fuel cycle. But if you would be a student who are coming from conventional engineering or so, you still need to know how it works and so on. Yeah. So this is the first kind of module to set up the people in this field and keep up what does it mean there is radiation protection and all the others, or how to behave in a nuclear environment. Then further, we have more the junior expert part, yeah, which is dealing then with aspects in more on site in a controlled area. For example, what is if you do maintenance in this area, how to proceed also in an array of project management, how to deal with authorities, how to deal with the management, yeah, the communication issue, yeah, because normally complex projects and how the communication should work. And then on the third step, we have the senior expert part, more where it goes more into practical training. And practical means then, for example, there are also on site in Lingen in the fuel fabrication plant, yeah, where you learn to how it is then to fulfill or perform any action in a control area. You do not just go in. You just before you plan, you organize everything and qualified with radiation protection officers and so on, and how it works. You know, there's, for example, also kind of escape room that we offer then to make it more, attractive also, to make it also some not realistic, but in this way to make it more sensitive. You make the people more sensitive. Yeah. And furthermore, we have also other projects now where we start up with partners to use virtual and augmented reality as part for training. Therefore, we cooperate with, for example, with the colleagues from Norway, from IFE, Institute for Energy Technology, where it is important then that if you offer virtual and augmented reality, how the people will behave, because this is another kind of training. You know, if you work in a virtual environment, you still need some specialized trainer, you need specialized environment and so on. And this is what we will offer together with the partners, and this is one of the next steps where we go.
Yeah, it is very interesting to see how you guys are implementing new trends for learning directly within your methodology. I think that's very attractive for anyone who is willing to learn in a more dynamic way, a little out of the box, which is very appreciated by the young generation.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
coming back to your storyline, so you told us that once you were done with the research project at the university, you started your company. Am I right, or am I over assuming things? So you started right away after the research. You founded your company. You decided, okay, I'm gonna be independent. I'm gonna go a little bit in the entrepreneurship side. I just want to understand, like, what was the motivation for you to take on that decision?
Good question. So when I did my PhD, I asked myself, should I now go to industry or what should I do? No, that's always a question. In a certain step after study or so, or when end of study, you ask yourself what to do. Yeah? And due to the fact that there are so many options, possibilities, you are afraid through which door should I go? Yeah. Normally, the best would be you have a mentor who gives you some advice, who knows you, who give you some feedback on yourself, on your perspective, and so on. Yeah. I had not these options, unfortunately. So, but I know when when I were in the university, I know from heart, I know I do not want to become a professor and stay in research because it is interesting, but it's also really hard. But another way of something you have to do, and I feel I want to do something by my own, start by my own. And then there was a opportunity also together with a colleague, with a professor, that we say, hey, we found this company. We thought with a simple idea, I have to say, just some training course, and then let's have a look. And from one course, it comes to second, to third. Then together with other partner, we started international conference, R&D, and the driver was always to work with people together to build something up. And for me, in perspective, I like to support also others. And then, as I said, this is why it came up to me to focus more in this, yeah, as you say, startup and becoming entrepreneur, yeah. But dealing with all the issues you have, you said, because I had no training on to become a managing director or so, yeah. What does it mean, yeah? And what kind of responsibilities to have? Then you have some employers and how to deal with it, and yeah, all of these things was training on the job was really hard, but interesting, I have to say, yeah. Don't be afraid about this. It was interesting, and it's still, because I'm still, I still start some other companies, so I never stop.
So
That's good that you have this entrepreneur spirit. I think a lot of people have them within themselves. They just have to like realize that it is there and it needs to be exploited eventually. And that's why I wanted to ask you, like, what were the biggest challenges on like starting up your own company? You mentioned that at the beginning you did not have a lot of experience in managing people, that you were on top of them and you have to like kind of lead the team towards a goal. So I wanted to like know more about those challenges you were facing at the very beginning of your company.
Yeah, when you start up, normally, and you come from university, even as a PhD, you have not, I will not say no money, but you need to invest. You need to invest money, time, and you have less money. Yeah, you have to think about how you could start. And so we start, as I said, from university. So I had still a half position at university, and I shifted more and more to the company. And when you start, you have also to think about, and this is what I know today is in your mindset is that you have a goal also. Yeah, you need some kind of vision of goal where you want to go. Yeah, and then you have to think about in which way you want to go, how fast should it go, yeah, because you could, on some steps you will also maybe have the possibility to get some investors or so. But if you have investors, you have to think about they want to earn money, yes, so they earn a return on invest. So this makes pressure on you, and maybe you have to make some decisions that you do not like to do. Normally you start your own business because you would like to be your own boss, yeah, and you want to decide with whom you will work with, huh? Yeah. But if you depend on somebody else, this would be not possible. So just keep in mind what how fast it should go, in which direction it should go, and with whom you would work together, yeah, also with investor. And for example, we had no investor. Yeah, we had only ourselves, but we start with this clever and smart business where you have less investment in hardware. For example, we start with an investment if you offer, for example, training, if you offer consulting, or if you offer organizing events or whatever. This is less intensive in investment. If you start a company who are dealing in R&D, yeah, because we also did a lot of R&D, yeah. Later on, it was more an engineering company, and but then we found the way of funding also, that we got public funding. We founded cooperations with industry who supported also investments. But then you still have some budget, you can invest something and you can have a look and try yeah, to go on. And then, so you have to increase step by step. And at the end, it works normally. If you're on the right way, it is not a linear way. Yeah, it could go in an exponential way of growing, but this depends on the goal that you have with your company. Yeah, but I have to say, from always, it was really interesting and for me fruitful. And so this is why I've also now wide network with a lot of people in nuclear industry, and I can say you still have to look where is your focus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's very interesting because I'd never thought that consulting companies or like more training related companies were like prompt to or were able to work without that much investments and research and development. That's also something I've always thought, like if I start, maybe I should start with something more consulting related, like just knowledge exchange instead of just producing some products. That's kind of maybe what I imagine like my
That's
entrepreneurship would be. Um, but yeah, this you mentioned something very interesting. A second company. So this is a point that I figure. Okay, you have your first company, and then somehow you decided to start a second one. What was the triggering thought that made you think that it was the right time to expand your horizons and, like, I don't know, multiply yourself times two so that you can manage two companies at the same time?
yeah. The reason normally the reason was not so nice issue because the problem was that together with my partner we go in different ways, you know, and we found that we not follow the same path anymore, and this is why we decided to quit on this way. Yeah? It was not easy because if you build something up, then you have to decide, will you follow this way? This is what I say. You have to ask in yourself, did you still follow this way? Even, you know, you put so much effort in it, but at the end you have to decide for yourself who you are and where you want to go. And as I told you, for me, it was important also to support young generation and not to make every time a quick money. Yeah, it's a marathon. Yeah, life is a marathon, and this is still what I see when I work with still with the partners. Yeah, and this was then the way where I say, okay, I have to start a new company with a new focus there. Yeah, and this was then the starting point with the Actimondo here, yeah, where we also focus more and more on digitalization because it's also an issue. If you see the trend in overall industry application, digitalization is a mega trend, yeah, even facing nuclear. You know, nuclear is really restricted and they're sometimes also struggling with introducing digital processes, yeah, but nobody can escape, I can tell you. you have to you have to go this way, yeah. And also all the utilities and industry, they will go this way. And even this is also the way, you know, when we start up with Framatome, this new competence hub, yeah, we also decided to make it as a hybrid training um, hub training course, yeah. So it's online as well on site, yeah. And it is not this standard 2-3 days training where you got a lot of information and after 2 weeks you know less than 10% about it. This, you know, it's we have a lot of improvements here in modern aspects, also in the way that we use modern learning management platforms, yeah, that especially the young generation is still used day by day, yeah. And if you see the newcomers in the business, they will ask for that. I think it will be the same for you. I'm pretty sure before you finish your study, your PhD, whatever, you will have several opportunities, companies who ask you, hey, Nelson, hey, Sophie, start as my company here. And you will decide, hey, let's have a look. Is it the right one for me? Do they offer a trainee program? Do they offer some whatever, yeah, to become more professional? Or just they offer me a big uh, some good payment, yeah, but then say training is on the job here. Yeah.
That's actually a very interesting point. You touched it, and I was actually heading there with my next question. So, if you had the chance to actually work for a company instead of funding your own, what would have been your criteria to choose the company you wanted to go to?
yeah, at least you should think about what is your personal goal and passion, yeah, and what is your personal value also, for example, yeah. Also, if you decide to go to a company, you also you will comply with the regulations that they will have there and their mission they follow, yeah. And you have to decide also if you can develop on a certain step where you want to go. If you say, for example, for me it's only important to have a good job for 8 hours a day and it's beneficial what I do and it's good, it has a good income, and the rest is I will manage by myself, it's okay, because then I'm in the middle management or wherever, it's fine to me. Yeah, then okay. If you decide I want to do more, I want to have a look how far I could go. Yeah, how far could I go before, however, I reach the top, the sky. Yeah, and then you have to see, is it possible still? I will give you also another example. What I should say. If you enter for example, too early on a certain step, some official positions, yeah, it may make difficulties for you to enter a career in industry, yeah. I want to say here some names of the institution, but the problem is then you are totally in an environment where it's absolutely administrative, yeah, and you are facing a lot of problems that are also self-made in this institution environment, yeah, and you never come out, yeah, and then you are burned for another job, yeah, and but therefore you have to think it's not easy to see that, because if you are a step from university, you do not really know, yeah, and this is why I say take the chance before, yeah, and talk to people, yeah, and even you're here in the nuclear societies, in German, UK society, whatever, you have never makes this exchange. This is really good for you because you will have the benefit that you get impact from different experts, yeah, and then you have to decide by yourself, is this right for me, or should I have a look deeper to this? Yeah. So, yeah. So that to answer the question is not easy, and this is also why I started here at the university, where also I'm a lecturer in the University of Applied Science in Aachen. I started the so-called nuclear expert coaching. Nuclear expert coaching means that I do a 3 weeks program with the students where we talk about their mindset, about their perspectives, about the way how they network. Yeah, for example, I recommend to have a LinkedIn profile for networking. Yeah, and how to deal and how to have a look on opportunities. Yeah, and yeah, about this stuff. So soft skill stuff also. Yeah.
Yes, well, thank you very much for your insights. That was a lot of really good tips that for sure I'm gonna write down. I'm actually writing this down. Okay.
Thank you.
Now let's. Oh, you are taking the notes. I know it.
I'm making notes. Thank you.
Now, I wanted to quickly direct the topic of conversation more towards nuclear, like the perspectives that you find right now for young professionals within the nuclear field. Let's assume that all of these young professionals come from an engineering background, which is like most of our members in the nuclear societies come from an engineering background, and they are wondering in which fields of nuclear could they be deployed? I know that that question is kind of depending from country to country, but for you, it's a very particular question because you come from Germany, and we know what's happening in Germany. So I want to hear from you. What do you think? Where can like young professionals in Germany go to if they decide to still go for nuclear engineering or nuclear field?
A good question. So first of all, this is a luxury problem for you and your generation, yeah, because you will never think about that you will be unemployed, yeah, because as I told you, the companies will jump on you. Come to me, yeah, please come to me. Yeah. So there, if you let's stay here in Germany and then let's talk about abroad. Yeah. Here in Germany, I can tell you there are every company is looking for new employees, for new for experts and so on. So if you look, for example, here in Germany, the GNS Gesellschaft für Nuklearservice, yeah, has more than 50 or 60 positions still open. The SafeTech, they told me they look for 100 new employees a year. Yeah, and there all the others are still looking. Yeah, so of course here in Germany we are facing with we have the phase out in nuclear. Yeah, which means we are looking on decommissioning, waste management, but also radiation protection is a big issue that we have here. Yeah. Nevertheless, also our companies in Germany are really good connected to nuclear businesses worldwide. So even if you want to go into new field, yeah, nuclear fuel cycle, maintenance of power, development of new power plants, is still there are still a lot of good opportunities, because here also the companies like Framatome, yeah, they have a lot of services abroad, yeah, and even we have still a good name in nuclear engineering. So in the university, for example, you in Stuttgart has a really good reputation there. Stuttgart, Munich, Aachen, and so Bochum. So good chances. If you look abroad, this is also another interesting thing. Now we see this, I think, new wave or new or a higher impact in the development of nuclear technology, especially in the way of this SMR development. Yeah, there are so many startups now where got funding for such new devices, new reactor systems. Yeah, Horizon in Netherlands, Seaborg, or Copenhagen Atomics in Denmark, Transmutex in Switzerland, and so on. In US, Canada, UK have also Rolls-Royce, and so you have everywhere this new company. And of course, not everybody or every company will survive, but I'm pretty sure there will be a big impact on this, and they are looking for new stuff. And so if you're looking for such development, I would say, which is rocket science, the new Tesla, the new SpaceX, it is still there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it is still there. Yeah, and from my perspective, once again, get in contact with these people. They are really open. Yeah, and talk to them as early as possible and see what is a driver for you. Yeah, for example, because they have different also missions, I would say. Yeah, for example, Transmutex in Switzerland, they're focusing also ADS concept on a small modular reactor system for transmutation of high-level waste. So is another thing. Then, for example, Seaborg, which develops new kind of reactor systems to supporting also shipping of or build up new ships, nuclear-driven ships or something like that. Yeah, so endless, I think, endless solutions there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Like, there are perspectives. We just gotta find out exactly what moves us, like, so that we can allocate among all of those perspectives the way we want to go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very nice having you here today. We got a lot of insights from you, from what you have been going through, from all of the stages, the decision making that like kind of got you where you are right now, and that was exactly what we were hoping as young generation. I understand you have also an event coming up. If you want to quickly advertise it, you have our permission for it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nes. Yeah, it is not only two events that is coming up. The one is a DigiDecom together with the colleagues in Norway. It's about digitalization in nuclear decommissioning, waste management. It's about robotics, and therefore we offer also for the young generation an own session. And until mid of September, until the 16th of September, you can also send us your abstract, yeah, and then you have the possibility to get for free in Holden, or you can also take part online, yeah, where we have also some awards. Also, the Nuclear Expert Coaching is an award for this, and in this event is I think I send you the link. You can link it with this interview here. It's DigiDecom. And the other is a Decom event, which we host together with Korean colleagues, with KEPCO ENC, yeah, but also with international partners like Ontario Power Generation, sorry. It's about also decommissioning issues here, and we also have there also the opportunity for students to present their projects, yeah, their R&D. And we have also some awarding during this event. So this is another possibility, and I will also send the link for this event. And therefore, we welcome everybody who wants to join us.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the invitation. And you guys can find all of this information on all social media and also on an email I sent you last week. So the information is there. Again, thank you very much for your time. This is going to be a recording that we're going to be posting this week, like on Thursday, on our YouTube channel for all of the ones that want to tune in. It's going to be very crowded in terms of viewers because it's the first time we're doing this, and we've been being loud about these interviews for a long time. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot of audience for this, and I appreciate your time, your talk, and how motivational you were for the young people. I'm pretty sure we're gonna stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Sophie. It was a pleasure also, and I will also push forward this information to increase your viewers.
That's great. I'll send you the link. You can share it.
I could listen to you speak forever, to be honest. Like I've got so many notes I've written down and inspirational things that I'll write in a little note. And thank you very much. This will be aired through Europe's YGN, so we'll share it as part of the UK. Germany will share it, and so will the rest of the ENS Nuclear Societies.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions in this respect, do not hesitate to contact me. Yeah? I'm happy to support you.
Oh, thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello. That was good. That was great.
God, Nelson, that was insane. You done so well. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Oprah style. Like sometimes I'd go to say a question. I was like, no, Nelson's already there. He's got it. Like you knew like all the things that I was thinking. Oh, I'd love to ask him this. You knocked it out the park.
Oh, thank you very much.
God. And I work for Abbott, right? Again.
I'm happy to be here with you, and let's do it again. Redo.
Redo.
Take two.
3, 2, 1.